Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today, I would like to briefly bring back an older series on decoding martial proverb. Today's proverb is 北尊 Shaolin, 南尊 Wudang, or in the north, Shaolin should be followed, while Wudang should be followed in the south. So, why am I talking about this proverb today? Of course, I have a zero background in Shaolin, so I'm not qualified to talk about it. But Wudang is an interesting story, and I have quite a few things about it to share with you. After I started posting this lecture series from last summer, I received a lot of comments and emails asking about the history of Wudang. In the beginning, I did not know that many people in our community do not know the historical information of this term. As I said before, the method used to classify and categorize Chinese martial art practice was neither systematic nor organized due to many factors, such as personal interest and historical misinformation. I think it is time to clarify some misunderstandings of this term. Also, I strongly feel that it is my responsibility to share accurate information with all of you to the best of my ability. Again, like any phenomenon related to culture and history, this topic is a bit complicated. Some part of this topic may be confusing if you are not that familiar with Chinese culture. In order to make the content of this video organized, I will focus on the following topic. First, what is Wudang? Second, who was Zhang Sanfeng? Third, what are the two branches of internal styles? 4. What is the Wudang school and its history? 5. Why did I name my own school Wudang Internal? And 6 takeaways. Let's get started. First, what is Wudang? If you practice Chinese martial art or watched some Chinese kung fu movies, this name would be quite familiar. However, if you ask yourself some questions related to Wudang, such as what is Wudang martial arts? I believe that most of you may not have a clear answer. So, what is Wudang? Well, the term Wudang has been changed many times in history. From the name of the mountain, a very beautiful mountain, to a Taoist meditation school, to a martial arts school, and now to a symbol of many things. Wudang Mountain became especially popular in the Ming Dynasty, which lasted from 1368 CE to 1644 CE, due to its important position in Taoist history. Zhang Sanfeng was the Taoist figure that attracted a lot of attention back then. I will briefly analyze the reason behind it. Therefore, before we talk about Wudang, we have to talk about Zhang Sanfeng, a name that has become almost synonymous with Wudang. Second, who was Zhang Sanfeng? The history around Zhang Sanfeng's life is not well documented to begin with. So, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to verify even the most aspect of his life, like the exact dates of his birth and death. But as far as currently available documents are concerned, throughout Chinese history, there has been at least 2 Zhang Sanfengs as per different record. One was born in 1247 or 1264, and the other was born in 1070. However, both of them are said to have died in about 1417. So, if you believe that there were 2 Zhang Sanfengs, then one of those lived anywhere between 153 to 172 years, and the other lived about 347 years. By the way, do you honestly believe that someone can live so long? To be very direct, that I do not believe it at all. According to Wikipedia, for whatever Wikipedia is worth, the person verified to have lived the longest, Jenny comment, sorry if I'm butchering her name, died at a very young age of 122 years, 164 days. Nowhere close to the long life apparently enjoyed by Zhang Sanfeng. But don't worry, since Zhang Sanfeng is considered as the founder of the Sanfeng school, he became an immortal, so maybe he is still alive. By the way, Zhang Sanfeng's name has a specific meaning as well. Zhang is his family name, which is a very common Chinese family name. Now, what does Sanfeng stand for? San in Taoist terminology means yang energy, while Feng means yin energy. So Sanfeng means the unity of yin and yang. Zhang Sanfeng should be a real person in history because he left some very important Taoist meditation books. However, like I mentioned before, in China, people prefer to contribute many great things to a historical or mystical figure. It is understandable that some styles apparently created by Zhang Sanfeng were in reality created by others. This is the phenomenon of cultural utopianism that I have mentioned before in my Tai Chi debate video, and we have to know about this in order to understand many historical figures. However, written documents available under the name of Zhang Sanfeng are only limited to Taoist meditation. In other words, no martial art document exists which has been attributed to Zhang Sanfeng. Not a single one. Think about this. If he was the founder of a martial art school, his name must be in at least some martial art training document. But his name is only printed in Taoist meditation documents or in movie or in martial novels. You may argue that in some old books, let's say published about 100 years ago, some people said that he created Tai Chi Chuan. I disagree with this claim, and so do most experts and researchers globally, since, first, there is not a single written proof of him to be the founder of Tai Chi. Second, the so-called Tai Chi supported to created by him has neither a clear lineage nor an official Quanpu or martial training manual compared to other styles of Tai Chi. By the way, since Zhang Sanfeng was considered an enlightened Taoist priest, many emperors throughout Chinese history looked for him for centuries. But none of those emperors was able to fulfill their dreams. In ancient China, there were three reasons for those emperors to look for figures like Zhang Sanfeng. First, to live longer and enjoy their long life. Second, to demonstrate their respect to religion. And third, to tell others that those immortals supported their authority as a government. Again, claiming that a style was created by an immortal looks very appealing and convincing to most people. Most people tend to believe that a very old martial art has to have stood the test of time if it has survived for so many centuries. But serious martial artists only consider such figures for what they are worth, as legendary figures, with often inflated claims. Verbal transmission of knowledge and practice without solid evidence is not giving much respect in the Chinese martial art community. After moving to the West, I noticed that many people in the West believe that Chinese people are not that creative. Well, I don't think so at all. Think about this. In our history, we have created so many interesting figures that could fly, could live for hundreds of years, and many other interesting feats. Well, I'm sure there are even some of you who believe such stories. Anyway, now I'd like to show you a book to you. I bought this book when I was a high school student. The name of this book is Wudang 拳术秘诀 or Wudang Martial Art Secret. The first edition of this book was published in 1931. It is considered as one of the most important research documents about Wudang style. In this book, Jin Yiming, a martial artist and a scholar who promoted Wudang practice, said that Zhang Sanfeng was famous for his Taoist meditation, but there was no mention of any martial art practice attributed to him. Let me make something clear about Zhang Sanfeng and Taoism. Zhang Sanfeng's Taoism practice is only a small branch of Xiudao or Taoist meditation practice. There are many other branches or schools of Xiudao practice. The reason for his popularity was the usage of a simplified text compared to the complicated jargons used by other branches. To summarize, I would like to say that Zhang Sanfeng was a prominent Taoist figure in Chinese history. He created the Sanfeng school of Taoist meditation practice. Later, other peoples may have created martial practice based on his Taoist principle, which may have eventually evolved into major martial art styles. But Xingyi, Bagua, and Tai Chi are definitely not among those. 3. Two branches of internal styles. Nowadays, when we talk about 内家拳 or internal styles, people only know about Xingyi, Tai Chi, and Bagua. Actually, there were two branches of internal styles. Since most of us know about Xingyi, Tai Chi, and Bagua, I'd like to focus on the other branch of internal styles of martial arts, commonly called Songxi Pai or Songxi branch, created by Zhang Songxi. His name was recorded in Ningpo Fuzhi, 卷3 11, Zhang Songxi 卷, 31st volume of Ningbo record, a local record in Qing Dynasty writing about 1700s. It's said that Zhang Songxi studied internal style of martial art from Zhang Sanfeng, who studied martial art from Tao's god in his dream and killed more than hundreds bandits once by himself in a battle. His grand student, Wang Zhengnan, was a popular martial artist, and his student, Huang Baijia, wrote the epitaph for his teacher. In the epitaph, 内家 or internal style as the term was first introduced. From then on, people started using internal style to describe any practice that focused on the principle of 以静制动 or apply static approach to control the dynamic attack in combat. However, this branch is not very well known due to many reasons. For example, there were not many practitioners in each generation of that style. As a result, this whole branch remains largely unknown today. The book Wudang 拳术秘诀 or Wudang Martial Art Secret that I just mentioned introduced the style in detail. In this document, there's not a single mention of Xingyi, Tai Chi, or Bagua. Maybe the book titled Wudang Martial Art Secret did a really good job of keeping them a secret. To be honest, I have to say that my impression of this branch is that it has not evolved in the last 400 years or however long it may have existed. Definitely not as developed as other internal style branch, which I would call Northern internal style branch, which consists of Xingyi, Taiqi, and Bagua. Also, it is worth noting that there were other practices under the name of Wudang that were developed later on but have nothing to do at all with the three popular Northern internal styles. To summarize, mainly speaking that there are two branches of internal styles. One is the East China's Zhejiang province and the other area as mentioned in Wudang Quanshu Mijue. The other branch is in the north and the middle part of China, and this branch became much more popular about 200 years ago, which became the representative of the internal style of martial arts, consisting of styles like Xingyi, Taiqi, and Bagua. 4. What is Wudang School and its history? Wudang as the name became popular in the 1920s. In order to know the reason, we have to consider the historical background around that time. In 1920, the government of the Republic of China established Zhongyang Guoshuguan, or Central Martial Art Academy, or the Central Guoshu Institute in Nanjing, for the propagation of Chinese martial arts. In the beginning, some military generals and social celebrities proposed to the government that a national martial art training program be created under the Education Ministry. However, government officials in the Education Ministry disapproved of this proposal. The reason was that the Education Ministry believed that those practices were outdated and should not be included in the modern education system. After those founders' hard work, a separate institute was created directly under the government of the Republic of China. The original name was very humble, Guoshu Yanjiuguan, or Martial Art Research Institute. Later, after getting the approval of the government, the name was changed to the Zhongyang Guoshuguan, or Central Martial Art Academy. Zhang Zhijiang, a military general, was the director of the institute. However, the vice director was Li Jinglin, who was forced to retire military general or a military warlord. He claimed that he was the only ninth generation Wudang sword lineage holder. He decided to have two departments in that institute in terms of teaching. One was Shaolin and the other one was Wudang. By the way, Shaolin was a popular school at that time, but Wudang was not a popular name at all. Since he claimed to be the Wudang sword lineage holder and as the former warlord, he convinced the others to put Xingyi, Taiqi, and Bagua under Wudang School, or the Wudang department in that institute. At the same time, any other styles would be categorized under Shaolin School or Shaolin department. What Li Jinglin did was a big mistake. Think about this. The head director of the Shaolin department, Wang Ziping, had never practiced Shaolin at all. He was a Muslim and practiced Chaquan and Shuaijiao or Chinese wrestling. Chaquan was a martial art developed and mainly practiced by the Muslim community in China, not at all a Shaolin style. Let me be clear. Wang Ziping was a great martial artist, but he was not at all a Shaolin master. As for the Wudang School or department, since Li Jinglin claimed to be the only Wudang sword master and later even published a Wudang sword training manual, It was a good reason for him to create a Wudang department in the institute, which was a mistake, an incorrect way to classify Chinese martial art practice. Tang Hao, the director of the 教材编审处 or Training Manual Editing and Verification Department in the institute, wrote a book titled Shaolin Wudang Kao or Shaolin Wudang Verification to criticize the approach of classifying martial art practice based on legendary story instead of scientific categorization. This is the photo of that training manual. Fortunately, most people in that institute realized the mistake of classifying martial art training in terms of departments in that institute. So, from the second year, they removed the Shaolin and the Wudang departments and unified the practice under a single 教务处 or Teaching Affairs Department. The martial art community accepted this change, but the damage had already been done as fictional novels on martial art used the classification between Shaolin and Wudang as the basic plot for conflicts. Please keep in mind that all of those events happened before 1949 under the rule of the Nationalist Party, before the Communist Party took power. To summarize, segregation martial art styles into Shaolin and Wudang departments in the institute was a big mistake in the first place. However, the institute corrected the mistake later, which was an action to restore the original objective to promote the traditional training in modern times in that institute. Now, I'd like to talk about an important event in 1927. The director of that institute, Li Jinglin, noticed that no one from Wudang Mountain participated in the national competition organized by the institute. He asked Fu Jianqiu, a famous Xingyi and Bagua master from Tianjin, to visit Wudang Mountain. At the time, the head priest of Wudang Mountain was Xu Benshan. After Fu Jianqiu met Xu Benshan, they developed a very close relationship. Xu Benshan accepted Fu Jianqiu as his Taoist apprentice and even gave him a Taoist name, Fu Heshan. As a result, Fu and Xu exchanged their practice. Fu Jianqiu taught Xu Benshan Hebei-style Xingyi, and in exchange, Xu Benshan taught Fu Jianqiu some Wudang weapons such as Qiankunqiu, which is a heavy stone ball, and Xuanwugun, a type of staff. This was an important event. That was how Xingyi Quan practice started in Wudang Mountain. Recently, some people claimed that Zhang Sanfeng created Xingyi. I have to say that it's a completely lie. However, if you still believe that, then let me tell you, Zhang Sanfeng also invented the iPhone 800 years ago. Anyway, let's move on. By the way, many published documents say that Fu Jianqiu taught Xingyi in Wudang Mountain around 1929, but his family members said that was a mistake, and he actually taught Xingyi in Wudang Mountain around 1927. This discrepancy was likely caused because of the different ways of recording dates back then. I personally believe 1929 to be more accurate. Either way, the difference in time is negligible given so many years of history and the different format of dates. Fu Jianqiu teaching Xingyi in Wudang Mountain is a well-known fact in the martial art community in China, but may not be so well known outside of China. This fact is the part of martial art history and should not be changed for any reason, be it cultural utopianism or martial art tourism. Fu Jianqiu studied Xingyi from Li Cunyi in Tianjin. I have been friends with his grandchildren for more than a decade. they still practice and teach Xingyi in Tianjin. To clarify this part of history, I recently had a video conversation with Fu Zhanmin, one of the grandsons of Fu Jianqiu. In our conversation, I asked him about his grandfather's contribution of teaching Xingyi in Wudang Mountain. Let me show you a part of this interview.
好，傅老师您好，很久没有见到您，我想今天借着一个时间，对您做一个简单的采访，想了解一下您和特别是您祖父的一些历史的一些信息，因为我现在在国外正在做一系列的一个武术节目，那我想介绍一下那个武当山的历史，特别是您祖父傅建秋前辈去武当山传艺的这个经过准备，您能不能先介绍一下您本身的姓名？
好的，首先我先谢谢亚航老师能在国外这么宣扬中国的传统武术，应当是我们国人的一大荣幸。我呢，傅占民是傅建秋先生的孙子。当年我爷爷是想到摇到武当山呢，这段时间是应当说我还比较清楚一点。当年是听我爷爷跟我奶奶经常讲，这叫话题，到这一块，练精化气、练气化身、练身欢愉瑞高，老高讲的，龙门派讲的很好，当时徐本山道长说，您是不是能把形意拳留在我们当山呢？然后既然徐道长喜欢呢，那是我尽力奉还。当时我爷爷那小住半个月，
对，半个月，
基本对，基本东西都留在当山，像12行啊，连环大事啊，当时我西本山的时候，在傅先生留了这么多宝贵东西，您需要点什么东西吗？就说我看您这个武当员工相当不错，那有一爷的国宝，就这个，其实这个我爷爷最大的功绩，就是把形意拳传上了
武当山，对，
有了这一套。
因为这个事情哈，不光是您一个人说，好多人都跟我说过这个事情，而且了解中国近代武术历史的人呢，都知道这段佳话，是吧？都知道这个故事，这是历史。因为现在呢，前段时间我听见一些人跟我讲，就说这个形意拳是张三丰创的。我说张三丰是谁都不知道的，都不能确定，怎么张三丰创的呢？我是我们天津的傅建秋傅前辈，他带上的武当山，1920几年、27年、28年那段时间，有可能29年，具体时间我记不住，因为那是还以民国算了，民国10几年。民国12年、民国10都那种算法，老的算17年、18年都那么算法。
To summarize, Xingyi was not created by Zhang Sanfeng at all. Fu Jianqiu brought Xingyi to Wudang Mountain. A history expert, Mr. Huang Xinming, did research at Wudang Mountain and interviewed many people. He finally concluded that Xingyi practice disappeared from Wudang Mountain before the 1980s. Topic 5. Why did I name my own school Wudang Internal? In the fall of 2000, I moved to Toronto from China. Later, in the beginning of 2001, I moved to Montreal, and right away I started teaching martial art at a local school. At the same time, some of my students helped me with establishing my own martial art school. I have to say that I have been really lucky in this country to have met a lot of nice people, many of whom helped me in dealing with many life challenges. With time, I got familiar with the local culture. Today, if you ignore my thick Chinese accent and poor French language skill, you will see that I'm a total Quebecois. However, I have to say that 20 years ago, I had little to no professional and business experience in North America. Some of my students back then helped me with the registration process as well as helped me find a studio in the heart of the city. Back then, the movie Crouching Tiger and the Hidden Dragon was very popular. Because of this, a student of mine recommended me to use the name Wudang Internal as the business name. Actually, I did not even watch that movie when they recommended it to me. Next day, one of my students brought a DVD of this movie and I watched it at home. The movie was really well made and I enjoyed it a lot. Then the following day, I told them as long as they thought the name was appropriate, then I would take it. So, being pretty fresh off the boat in Canada, I effectively let my students choose the name Wudang Internal for my school, and they also helped me with the registration process. Soon, I started to design my website, and the domain of the website was Wudang Internal. After a few years, I gradually realized that this name was not really appropriate since my teaching had nothing to do with Wudang. Then I changed the domain name to internalstyles.com, but I didn't really care to rename it from the earlier Wudang Internal. I was reluctant to go through the tedious task of changing the name in the government office. Long story short, I consider the name Wudang to be just an unfortunate marketing term for reaching out to beginners, nothing else. In the future, I will change the name of my school in order to make sure the new name will correctly reflect the nature of my teaching. Now, let me share a funny experience with you. I haven't talked about this in public before, so I'm revealing a secret today. About 12 years ago, a student of mine in China called me one day to make a proposal. In our conversation, he said that he had contacted some people and they had been working on a potential martial art project. The project was very simple. He had an investor who would like to invest some money to promote some traditional martial arts. I was chosen to teach internal styles, especially Xingyi and Bagua. Now, here come to the fun part. They would rent a small temple in Wudang Mountain at 5,000 renminbi per month, which was about less than $800 back then. I was invited to teach at the temple in the Wudang Mountain. I refused it right away, citing 3 reasons. First, I had never been to Wudang. Second, I was not a Taoist priest. I didn't practice religious Taoism and I could not wear a Taoist uniform. Finally, the most important reason, third and the most important one, is that I wanted to be real and authentic, not a charlatan. That was my experience and I almost became a Wudang priest. It sounds funny now, but back then it was just hilarious. I was scared I would die laughing because I'm not an immortal like Zhang Sanfeng. I'm not kidding, okay? Death from laughter is a real condition. Google it. Sure, the offer was very creative as well as lucrative, okay? But that would also have been fraud and against all my principles. By the way, this video should have been posted a long time ago. All these years, I have been very careful while choosing any topic to share with others in public. Especially for years, many people ask me about the historical connection about my own practice with Wudang. I have verbally explained it to many people many times, but recently, especially after starting the video series a few months ago, I have received many more emails and comments asking about the same topic. And being a serious disseminator of the internal styles along with the historical and the cultural backgrounds, I feel it is my responsibility to share the most accurate information with everyone. Not only to respect history, but also to preserve it responsibly for future generations. Also, if I come across further information that supports or refutes prior information, I will be sure to provide that as well. Quite a lot of the information related to this topic is very commonly known in China, but it may not be very well known outside China, mainly due to the cultural differences. I always tell my students that in the martial art community, it is very hard to point out the truth, especially when it goes against preconceived notions or beliefs. Because many people suffer from confirmation bias, even more so when it relates to mythology or history. But reality is reality. In Mandarin, there is a proverb, 以讹传讹, or a false report once released will remain so in circulation. I want to correct this mistake for the present and for posterity. This is the reason why I'm sharing this information with you. Takeaways. First, what is Wudang? A scenic mountain with a lot of temples where some people practice and teach some martial arts. Second, who was Zhang Sanfeng? A part mystical, part historical figure in history. Originally famous for his Taoist meditation practice, but latterly titled as the founder of many styles due to cultural utopianism and fictional books and movies. Third, what are the two branches of internal style? The old branch of the internal style of Songxi style became less popular in the community and was replaced by later internal style including Xingyi, Tai Chi, and Bagua. 4. What is the Wudang school and its history? Became known in the end of 1920s and promoted by martial art novels and kung fu movies and became very well known. 5th, why did I name my own school Wudang Internal? 20 years ago, I registered my school with this name on the suggestion of my students. Today, I consider it an unfortunate marketing term and I'm working on distancing myself from it. So, that ends today's video. Thank you for watching, see you next time and enjoy your practice.